Big takeaways from Atlanta United's goalless draw at DC United, at Audi Field in Washington, DC. Sydney and Henry with you. Fortunately, I was able to stay awake for this one because Atlanta United's attack didn't really do much to keep me awake. I'm sure the same for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a struggle. I mean, there wasn't really anything to be excited about in this game.
Yeah.
Very little positives to take from it, and yeah, like you said, just an overall boring game, which seems to just be I guess, the epitome of this team now.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it. I don't know how much what we have to talk about tonight, but guess that's takeaway number one. Atlanta's attack again. Just absolutely nothing on the evening. One shot on goal. In fairness, the Atlanta allowed one shot on goal to DC United, but they themselves put on one shot on goal. Point 0.7 XG to DC's point 0.8. I mean, the chances were there, but they were half chances, and that's the problem with this team this year. The chances aren't crisp. The chances, don't hit the target. Can tell you how many times we saw a cross into the box just a bit too high, or a pass just a bit off. Latte Lot fires it into the crowd. A shot he should have taken, a chance he should have taken, I should say. Mateus Cleek has space to shoot the ball, and he just scuffs it. I mean, I could go on, but I won't. I'll just leave it to you.
You mostly covered it. I mean, a lot of the chances were exactly that. Brooks Lennon crosses into the box that
No,
there's a reason he's the team's all-time leading assister, and it's because they've kind of relied on him almost as a crutch
mm,
for a lot of their chance creation over the past several years. And when you have a striker like maybe Gigi, who is big and tall and can really get to those, maybe that works, but you haven't had Gigi for a year. You have Latte Lot now, and you brought Latte Lot again. I feel like I've said this every single freaking week, but you brought Latte Lot to be a striker who gets on the end of through balls with his speed, and this team still isn't using that speed to its advantage.
yeah,
Granted, he does not, and we'll talk about this later. He does not get grace from me today because he had his chances, and he still he gets his opportunities and cannot put them away.
yeah.
And that is a conversation that we need to start having because at this point it's just all the DPs at this point that
All right.
are underperforming or not doing well. But yeah, Moranchuk, I think I feel like I have to talk about him. He's completely uninspiring at the 10. And they moved him away from the 10 and he started kind of working at that position, but at the end of the day, I guess this team needs a 10. It just doesn't operate without a 10,
Right.
and Moranchuk cannot be that guy because he gets
Yeah.
the ball, he can't dribble, he doesn't really have any creativity, he doesn't really know where the next pass is going. There were a few times where he got the ball at the top of the box and still didn't know what to do. He couldn't
Uh,
find anything to do with it, and that's where
that's your number 10, by the way.
exactly. He's supposed to be the most creative guy on the field, and he doesn't
Yeah.
know what to do when the ball gets to his feet. And so, what ends up happening? Some sort of aimless pass, some sort of tries a lobbed ball into the box to see if something happens. It's just that's not a sustainable way of creating
Yeah.
chances. And even the few passes
Yeah.
he had, a lot of them he released wrong. They were bad. They were
Yeah.
misplaced. And that's just piled on to what was a terrible game. So yeah, just overall disappointed with the attack, and unfortunately, I can't really say that I see much of it changing in the short term.
Right. So let's talk about Latte Lot. That's takeaway number two. Um, yeah, we had the chance to hear from Ronnie Dyla after the match, and I asked him, with the goal streak being having been so long, how to build that confidence, and Ronnie Dyla said, "Hey, he just has to train better, just do I think 100%." Just keep working at it, and eventually it'll click. That it's been how many months has he hasn't scored? I mean, he did say it's not a switch that you flip, it's not a button that you press, but at some point we have to start talking about. You said it. At some point, we have to have a larger discussion about Latte Lot. Is he right for this team? Is he right for the system? Is he right for MLS? It's only what 20 matches into the season. Yes, I get it, and he hasn't been here for a full year. But look at how much money you paid for him. Look at how much money he's being paid to put goals in the back of the net. And like I said in the pre-match show, they're getting him service to some extent. He fluffs his lines on another chance tonight that he should have scored. It should have been back in the net. It should have been 1-0 Atlanta United, but he didn't. He didn't score, and it's beyond worrying for Lotte Lot at this point. And I may get pushed back, but we got to start having a conversation about, is he what this team needs? You mentioned Gigi. Gigi takes that chance. Gigi takes that chance. Still 9 out of 10 times. Lotte Lot doesn't, and it's just not working for him.
I agree with Latte Lot and the striker position in general. You really need to answer the question first of what is this team's identity? How does it want to play? And I think that question has really gone unanswered for a long time with this team.
Yeah,
There isn't an identity. There isn't a clear cut, this is the plan to get to the goal. This is the plan to score the goals. It's just kind of been, here are the players we have, kind of figure it out. And at some point, when you had again Gigi and he could get to those crosses from Brooks Lennon and Pedro
yeah,
Amador and these folks, that worked. But I think it was kind of a blessing and a curse, because I think at that point we felt confident that, oh, okay, we figured it out, right? We
yeah.
know how to make this work. And no, you didn't, right? You just got the right player to turn your half chances into goals.
I
But once he left, you lost that. And now you have another player who functions very fundamentally differently and who isn't as clinical, because that's what we've seen this
yeah,
season, right? I think of the three DPs, we have given him a lot more grace, because there are two aspects. There's the chance creation, which across the season we've talked about as not being good because Moranchuk hasn't been great, Miggy hasn't been great. A lot of getting the ball into good positions, that hasn't been great from this team. But Latte Lot has had his chances.
yeah,
There is that one play against Cincinnati that I'm always going to remember, where he is alone. He's one-on-one against the keeper. He tries around the keeper and score, and he can't do it.
yeah,
He hits the side netting. He
yeah.
had a couple other similar chances, and his shots are just bad, right? Some of them, most of them, aren't even on target. I mean, you paid 22 million for this
Right.
guy. He should
and,
at
and
least
then,
be
by the
able to
way,
put it
Kevin
on
Denke scores
frame.
tonight. By the way, Kevin Denke adds another goal tonight. So
Yes,
what's
they
he off
are on
now?
a tear, and Cincinnati is popping off, and there you have it. I mean, Evander and Denke, two
Yeah,
players that Cincinnati found that they knew were going to work for them, that they knew
yeah,
were going to, they did their homework and they found two players that would work. And Atlanta United still just cannot figure out what players it needs. You did not need a player like Alexei Moranchuk in that moment, right? You do not need him now. And that's why I think we look at what LAFC did with Olivier Giroud and letting
yeah.
him go. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, well, Moranchuk got here about the same time as Giroud. Is it
Right.
potentially time for Atlanta United to evaluate whether he has a long-term future with this team? Because to me,
Mm,
he doesn't. He is not a reliable number 10. He is not a suitable chance creator for this team. For what you are paying him, he should be doing much more.
right.
I think that's something that could be said of all the DPs, but I think you have to start somewhere. And if there's anyone that has shown over almost a year that he has been here that he is not up to snuff, it is
Yeah.
Alexei Moranchuk. And again, conversations about all the DPs because they all have their flaws, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and Darth Vader has said, he's not interested in selling the DPs during the upcoming window, but I mean, we'll see
That's
if that
wild.
conversation. I mean, we'll see if
How do you
if
look at
that
this?
conver-
I'm sorry, Sydney. I have to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But
Go
it
ahead.
is 11 p.m. I'm tired and irritated because I had to watch a whole 90 minutes of this crap. And
I
next
kept
week I'm
you
gonna
up
have to watch
too,
another
so
90 minutes of this crap, and then we're gonna have to go watch it in the stadium. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. How do you look at this team and the three DPs as they're performing right now and say that you're not looking to move them on, that you're saying you're happy
yeah,
with this, basically. You're basically
essentially,
saying
yeah,
that you're okay with this. You don't care. And that just it blows my mind that that is the position of this front office, that they are not willing to recognize that they have made a mistake with some of these
yeah,
players. It is okay to recognize that you made a mistake, but
right,
gosh darn it, admit it. Just realize that this was not this guy. We tried him for a year, we tried him for a period of time, and we realized that he actually doesn't fit what we're trying to build. He actually doesn't complete that function. I think we have a sufficient enough sample size to make that determination. And once you have determined that, you have to take action
yeah.
because it's your responsibility to realize that this is not good enough for this team, that you should be doing much better, and that you need that DP slot to be used on a player that can actually bring that level to this team because none of the three right now are getting it done.
What another positive note, though.
Oh, yeah. On a positive note, let's talk about the homegrown.
Yeah,
Efrain Morales with
yeah,
another start.
terrific night, and Ronnie Dyla said, he played like a man, and we had a chance to talk to Ephra, and he said, he wanted to be a pest on the field. That was his goal, to be a pest, and that was his goal to, be aggressive against Benteke. Of course, he said, I don't want to get the yellow, but credit to him A for playing with the yellow throughout the night. He got a little dicey there. I think Gonzalez had to kind of tell him, "Hey, calm down. I don't want to send you off." But credit to him, other than that, for playing with that yell and being effective in the defense. And then B, credit to him for the job he did, not only on Benteke, but just throughout the night. Um, what someone on X reached out and said, we paid another center back to come in, and Mihai on a temp contract. That's my concern with Mihai. He'll start, of course. But that's my concern. You're keeping guys like Morales trapped in the depth chart. And that's not to say that Efra's going to start tomorrow, but he showed you some good qualities out there against DC. He helped shut down the Golden Boot winner, defending Golden Boot winner. Granted, he wasn't 90 minutes fit. That's why he came off. But another great job by Efra Morales this evening.
Absolutely. And I think it's encouraging to see that the homegrowns are stepping up. I like to see that. And I think Efrain Morales has been long overdue for his shot with the first team.
Mhm.
Um, he's already basically grabbed the starting job with the Bolivian national team by the scruff of the neck. He is basically a locked in starter there. And so I think it's great that he's getting these opportunities. I want to see him more consistently in a starting role because first of all, he's got the stuff. He's a
Yeah,
warrior on the field, and we saw that today. He was, you know, just making life as uncomfortable as possible for Christian Benteke and this DC United attack, and just putting his body on the line and really going in and making sure that he stifled any attack that came his way, and you have to give credit to him for that. A young player doing that kind of stuff and really uh, putting in that kind of a shift, that is significant, and that's something that we have to
yeah,
look at and say this is a guy that potentially in the long term we have to look at as uh, a solution in that center back role. And we talked about in AM
Yeah,
Mihai, the new signing who uh, in about 19 days time will be able to finally play with the team. Uh,
yeah,
his whole attribute was about, leadership and organization and that kind of thing. And I think it would actually be interesting if you have Efrain Morales alongside this guy who is a little bit more experienced and maybe a little bit more vocal and the kind that will organize that back line a little bit more. I think it'll make this team work a little bit better towards the back at least and solidify. Um, there's a credit there that the team earned a clean sheet today. Um,
yeah,
so you say that the defense is at least figuring it out. Again, DC doesn't pose too much of a test compared to other teams in the league, but at the that's the one thing that I think you see as good news,
right.
quote unquote, from this game is that they got a clean sheet. Um, but still, there's just so much to be done, and huge props to Efra for his
Yeah,
performance, and I can't wait to see more of him.
indeed, indeed. That's all I got. You got
Yeah,
anything else?
no, just homegrowns keep bringing the energy and keep
Yeah,
pushing, and they have that dog in them, and I want to see more of that come out because there's some players that I just don't think they feel it as much.
yeah. 0-0 the score. Atlanta United and DC United. We will see you next time.
Peace.